Opening our debate from Washington, D.C., which is the right place to be, we have Wajid Saeed, the U.S. correspondent for the Pakistan television channel GOTV and the correspondent for the English language broadsheet, The News. He's going to outline for us the Pakistan-American relationship in recent years, bringing it up to what exactly is happening now, and of course, how does Washington see Pakistan? Wajid Saeed, the screen is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Humphrey, and thank you for having me here. I must say that it's an honor to share this space with this illustrious panel. I'm going to briefly talk about the U.S. perspective and its interest in keeping its relationship with Pakistan the way it is now transforming. I say transforming because we know that traditionally Pakistan-U.S. relations have been transactional, a sort of a patron-client relation where Pakistan always boasted and then undoubtedly took advantage of its location. But if you look at the bigger picture, it was always seen through the prism of another country, like the term FPAC. The idea being, if you want to achieve anything in Afghanistan, you have to go through Pakistan. There was hardly any one-on-one relationship otherwise, even though there were opportunities during the course when the United States worked up to build and expand bilateral ties with Pakistan, to buck up the civilian government, to encourage democratic values. But that backfired mainly because of Pakistan's own internal political imbalances and infighting for power. Not to mention the heightened anti-Americanism. For instance, some 12, 13 years ago, the Obama administration introduced the Kerry-Lugar-Berman bill to support Pakistan and have stronger bilateral ties. It offered $1.55 billion per year. That bill was originally the Kerry-Lugar-Biden Act, but the name was changed as Biden became the vice president. So Biden has known Pakistan as long as he has been in Congress. Now, as president, his administration's attitude and outlook towards Pakistan reflects that as well. The second instance came when Osama bin Laden was found in Pakistan and subsequently taken out by the US SEALs. This proof of betrayal angered the US, and I think in some quarters it still exists. I'm mentioning this because there's an institutional memory in play here. Memory of high cooperation. Pakistan had thought that since it helped the US fight the Soviets in the past, it would be treated the same way again. But the double dealing further strained the relations. We must realize that most of the US soldiers fighting in Afghanistan by the end of the war had not witnessed the 9/11 incident, let alone knowing how Pakistan once was a frontline state in the 80s. What they saw was that the people they were fighting were getting protection from across the border. This is the new institutional memory here. That's why in January 2017, the first tweet from the then President-elect Donald Trump against Pakistan further downgraded the ties. As we know, Trump accused Pakistan once again of lying and deceiving the US while receiving billions of dollars in foreign aid. He blocked all kinds of US financial and military assistance to Pakistan, and most of which is still in place. Since Obama, there were efforts to divert US attention towards China. President Trump henceforth pushed out the Indo-Pacific strategy, which is being taken forward by the current administration. And to fully focus on this developing situation, they wanted to leave Afghanistan behind, and this time with less dependence on Pakistan. After the withdrawal statements from the military and political leadership in Pakistan, like the then Prime Minister saying that the Taliban have broken the shackles of slavery, didn't help much, as we know that the US, without any boots on the ground, targeted and killed Ayman al-Zawahiri this year. So there was clarity that they don't want to depend on Pakistan as they used to. I remember that after the botched US withdrawal from Afghanistan last year, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Mike Milley, told the US Congress when he was asked what he was most concerned about at the time, he said, one, to evacuate safely, and second, the security of Pakistan's nuclear assets. That, I think, is quite telling. Then there's another significant aspect, Pakistan's internal instability and its economic woes. The country's exploding population growth, food insecurity, limited health and education priorities, and diminishing skilled labor available, coupled with the political and religious divide, is a grave concern here. Precisely for the reason President Biden called Pakistan one of the most dangerous nations in the world just a couple of weeks ago, as it has already been mentioned here. His exact words were nuclear weapons without cohesion. That was not an off-the-cuff remark. The relationship has gone from mistrust to total distrust to now finding a way to work together to deal with issues of mutual concern. The US provided humanitarian assistance during the pandemic and quite recently aid to help with the flood victims. But for other critical and geopolitical matters, it is relying and supporting other countries in the region, especially India. Like as we are speaking, Special Representative for Afghanistan, Thomas West, is consulting with US partners regarding the ongoing crisis in Afghanistan. And for that, he's touring India, Japan, and the UAE. Pakistan clearly is not prioritized, and there are no huge expectations from it, as were in the past. They're involving other stakeholders than totally depending on Pakistan. Now, it's not that Pakistan has lost its geographic importance. It is a tough neighborhood, and we should consider the regional repositioning too. In the escalating conflicts with China, which Pakistan considers as its all-weather friend, the US is propping up India, which Pakistan considers as its arch rival. So it's not all out neglecting Pakistan either, but the South Asian part of the Indo-Pacific strategy includes every country in the region except Pakistan. Neither friends nor frenemies sort of situation. The U.S. also understands that Pakistan is vulnerable to terrorism. It still repeatedly calls Pakistan as its strategic partner. It has helped Pakistan secure loans from various financial institutions, given that there's also perception that Pakistan could even default in the near future. Then getting Pakistan out of the FATF grey list. From the looks of it, the US needs to stay engaged with Pakistan, but at a normal, as needed level by keeping the pace slow and steady. Perhaps that's why, after a couple of years, Islamabad has a proper American ambassador too. So, my understanding is that the relationship between the US and Pakistan is in the correction mode right now, if you will. And it's probably going to stay here for the time being, at least, not more, or maybe not less. Thank you.
Thank you very much